Welcome back guys, and in this video we'll be exploring maps. So a map is a data type that stores pairs of keys and values. We can use a key in a map to quickly find its associated value. So now we're going to create our very own map. So let's say we have a bank. All the bank's customers have a balance, and we want to be able to easily look up and edit customers' balances using their name. So we can make a map where the customers' names are the keys and the customers' balances are the values. So to create our map, the first thing I'm going to do is type balances, equal, map, and then I'm going to put square brackets just like this. Now inside of these square brackets, I'm going to put the data type of the keys in our map. In our case, the keys are going to be our customer's name, so I'm just going to put string right here. Then after the brackets right here, I'm going to put the data type of the values in our map. And in our case, the values are the customer's balances, so I'm going to put int. Now I'm going to put curly brackets just like this. And in between the curly brackets, we're going to put the key value pairs inside of our map. So I'm going to type Cody, 1000, and then we need to put a comma just like this. And this is saying that we have a key value pair in our map with the key Cody and the value 1000. Now right here I'm just going to put Alice, 400, and then I'm going to put Mark, 200. So now that we've created our map, let's try printing it out. So I'm just going to type fmt.println balances. Now I'm just going to go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, our key value pairs were printed. For each key value pair in our map, we have the key, a colon, and then the value associated with that key. Now let's try looking up a value using a key. So right here after balances, I'm just going to put square brackets. And then inside of those quotation marks, I'm just going to put Cody. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, 1000 was printed. And that's because this code right here is saying that we want to print the value associated with the key Cody in our balances map. And we can also change values in our map. So let's go ahead and delete this right here. And let's just type balances, square brackets, Alice equals 100. Then down here, let's just type fmt.println balances, Alice, just like this. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, Alice's balance was changed to 100. Let's try adding a new key value pair to our map. So instead of Alice right here, let's just put Bob. And let's just delete this right here so we can print our entire balances map. Now let's go ahead and run our code. And as you guys can see, a key value pair with the key Bob and the value 100 was added to our map. So now I'm going to show you guys how we can delete a key value pair from our map. So let's go ahead and try deleting Alice and her balance. So I'm just going to delete this code right here. And now I'm going to type delete, brackets, balances, comma, Alice. Just like this. And this is going to delete the key value pair with the Alice key. And then down here, let's just print the whole balances map. So I'm just going to type fmt.println balances. Now let's go ahead and run our code. And as you can see, Alice is no longer in our map. Let's see what happens when we try to print out the value for a key value pair that doesn't exist. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And then I'm just going to type fmt.println balances, Alice, just like this. And remember, we deleted Alice and her balance from our map in this line of code right here. So let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, we get 0. And that's because the values in our map are of type int. And the 0 value of an int is 0. Now I'm going to show you guys how we can check if a key value pair exists with a given key. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this code right here. And I'm just going to type bal, exist, equals, balances, Cody, just like this. And this line of code is going to do two things. Firstly, the value in our map with the key Cody will be assigned to this first variable right here, which we name bal. Secondly, this exist variable right here is going to be a bool. Exist will be equal to true if the key value pair exists, and it will be equal to false if the key value pair doesn't exist. So down here, let's just type fmt.println bal, exists. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you guys can see, 1000 was printed and true was printed. That's because the value in the key value pair with the key Cody is 1000. And this key value pair does exist, which is why exist was equal to true. Let's try replacing Cody with Paul right here. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, 0 and false was printed. And that's because there's no key value pair in our map with the key Paul. If we only want to check if the key value pair exists without storing the value of the key value pair, we can just put an underscore for our first variable right here. And this is telling Golang we don't need this value. Then let's just delete bal, right here. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, we're only checking if the key value pair exists without storing the value. Now I'm going to show you guys the correct way to create an empty map. So as you guys can see, I created a map right here and didn't assign it any value. Let's try adding a key value pair to our map. So I'm just going to type balances, square brackets, Mark equals 500. Then down here, let's just type fmt.println balances. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, we get the error assignment to entry in nil map. So let me show you the correct way to create an empty map. So one way is we can type equals map square brackets, and then we'll just put string and then int right here, and then we'll just put empty curly brackets just like this. And if we go ahead and run our code, as you can see, we no longer get an error. And by the way guys, we can make this shorter by just deleting this right here and then deleting var right here. And then let's just put a colon before the equal sign, just like this. This is the same as before, but it's just shorter. Another way we can create an empty map is by using the make function. So to use the make function first, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And then I'm just going to type balances, colon equals, make, brackets. And then in between these brackets, I'm just going to put map. And then I'm going to put square brackets. I want our keys to be of type string, so I'm just going to put string. And I want our values to be of type int, so I'm just going to put int right here. So now let's just go ahead and run our code. And as you can see, this also works without any error. Now I'm going to show you guys how we can iterate over a map using a for loop. So as you guys can see, I have our balances map from earlier, and let's use a for loop to print out everyone's name and balance. So I'm going to type for name, comma bal, colon equals range, balances, just like this. And then I'm just going to put 2 curly brackets right here. So this for loop is going to run for every key value pair in our balances map. The key of the key value pair is going to be assigned to this first variable right here, which we name main. And the value of that key value pair is going to be assigned to this second variable right here, which we name bal. And inside our loop, I'm just going to type fmt.printf name colon %s balance colon %s. And then I'm just going to put a new line right here. And I want the first %s to be the name, so I'm just going to put comma name. And then I want the second %s to be the balance, so I'm just going to put comma bal. Now let's go ahead and run the code, and as you can see, everyone's name and balance was printed out. I'm actually just realizing I made a mistake right here. Since balance is of type int, I should have put %d, just like this. So now I'm just going to run the code again, and as you can see, it works as expected. The last thing I'm going to show you in this video is that we can use len with maps just like we can use len with slices and arrays. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this right here. And let's just type fmt.println. And then in between these brackets, let's just put len, brackets. And then between these brackets, let's just put balances. Now let's go ahead and run the code. And as you can see, 3 was printed. And that's because since we have 3 key value pairs in our balances map, len balances evaluates to 3. So as you guys can see, in our balances map, Cody has a balance of 1000. But I don't really need money. What I would really appreciate is if you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos.